I get it when you're staring at a bright screen in the boat shop and trying to decide whether to drop a few $100s on a new fish finder. The hesitation feels almost real. You're weighing the risk of spending that cash only to end up with a unit that looks great on paper but never actually helps you locate that trophy base or tarpon you've been dreaming about. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's walk through the Lowrance HDS Pro10 as if we were sitting on a dock together, coffee in hand, figuring out if it's the right companion for your next outing. First off, the biggest question people have is whether a 10-inch touchscreen really makes a difference once you're on the water. In my testing, the size does matter, especially when you're juggling a map, sonar returns, and a few quick taps to change settings. The SolarMAX HD display is bright enough that you can still read the details on a sunny afternoon without squinting, and the touch response is snappy enough that you don't have to wrestle with a stylus or a clunky button layout. That means if you're the kind of angler who likes to switch between a lake depth view, a SideScan image, and a waypoint route with a few flicks, the screen size actually saves you time and reduces the frustration of trying to zoom in on a tiny 5-inch panel. Now, about the sonar. The HDS Pro10 comes pre-wired with an ActiveImaging HD 3-in-1 transducer, which bundles a traditional downlooking sonar, a SideScan, and an ActiveTarget mode that adds high-frequency detail. What that looks like in practice is you can drop the downlooking cone over a lake where the bottom is a mix of weeds and rocky patches, and you'll instantly see a clean separation between vegetation and structure. On a saltwater charter, the SideScan element becomes a game-changer. You can sweep a strip of water while you're cruising and spot a school of snapper before you even see the surface disturbance. The real strength here is that the transducer is built into the package, so you're not hunting for an extra accessory that might not even be compatible. On the flip side, the 3-in-1 transducer does have a hidden trade-off. Because it tries to cover 3 modalities, you sometimes get a compromise in maximum depth performance compared to a dedicated deepwater unit. If you're targeting big game fish that hang out 500 feet down, you might notice the bottom return starts to get a bit grainy after about 300 feet, especially when you crank up the high-frequency SideScan for detail. For most inland freshwater anglers, that's a non-issue, but serious offshore tournament fishers should keep that limitation in mind. Charting is another area where the HDS Pro10 tries to stand out. Lowrance bundles CMAP Discover OnBoard charts, which gives you detailed coastline lines, depth contours, and even some points of interest like marinas and bait shops. The practical upside is you can plot a route from your slip to a fishing spot and have the system automatically warn you if you're heading into a shallow shoal. In a real-world scenario, I used the charting feature on a weekend trip down the Intercoastal Waterway, and the auto-recalculation after a sudden detour saved us from running aground on a hidden sandbank. However, the charts are only as current as the last update Lowrance pushed out, so if you fish in a rapidly changing area, think new dredged channels or recently placed reef structures, you'll still want a backup paper chart or a secondary GPS device. Let's talk about who actually benefits from this setup. If you're the type of angler who spends a lot of time on larger boats, likes to explore new waterways, and values a single screen that can handle mapping, sonar, and even smartphone integration, the HDS Pro10 is a solid fit. The smartphone integration is seamless. You can pair your phone to display additional data like weather overlays or even run third-party apps without needing a separate tablet. It also means you can record your trips and instantly share a screenshot of that perfect bite with friends on social media. On the other hand, if you're primarily fishing a small, local lake from a kayak and you only need a basic depth readout and a simple fish alarm, the HDS Pro10 is probably overkill. In that case, a more modest unit with a 5-inch screen and a single frequency sonar would give you the same core functionality for a fraction of the price. Practical strengths shine when you consider daily usability. The touchscreen remains responsive even when your gloves are a bit damp, and the interface is organized around a home screen that lets you quickly jump to the most used functions. I found the FishReveal SideScan mode particularly useful during a night fish on a lake where the surface was choppy. The SideScan cut through the glare and gave a clear silhouette of a bass lurking near a submerged stump. Another strength is the built-in ActiveTarget 2XL sonar mode, which gives you a higher resolution view of the water column, helping you differentiate between a single fish and a school. Those nuances matter when you're